What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another Friday with me, yours truly, Red Rooster Gorilla, bringing you all the latest in drones, Quad-Dawgs, and OSINT-related topics that I find interesting. So, if you like what you're getting here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let me know how I can make this channel better. As always, I do appreciate you guys joining me on these Fridays. It's been an adventure. I like talking about this stuff. You guys really find it fascinating, go ahead and tell me that, or just leave a thumbs up emoji, or tell me it sucks. Either way, I love hearing about it. Lets me know what I can do to change it. Got a lot of stuff coming up this fall. For those, we got tons of things to keep track of or stay tuned for. We're going to be doing our fall giveaway coming up. Great prizes here. In fact, I'm not going to talk about it because it's a secret, but we got a really cool prize for you guys coming up this fall. So you'll hear about that in the mesh network that's going on right now, RoosterNet. So for those who have gone through Intro to Communications with me, or Intro to Off-Grid Communications, we have our RoosterNet up right now, and that's where you're going to be getting some cool details on things coming up this fall. Notably the giveaways. We'll also be doing it on Instagram, so follow me for the live stream information like we did this summer, and you can stay up to date on everything that's going on with Red Rooster Gorilla. Great opportunity to test out your off-grid comms gear that you get in that class. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, there's a giveaway going on in there right now, or a promotional discount. Use the code that's in there if you're on the channel. You can get $50 off this week's emergency preparedness, the first 72 hours of a disaster. Dovetails nicely with Intro to Off-Grid Communications, so go ahead, check that out, and you can get $50 off if you're looking in the RoosterNet now. Speaking of which, we just wrapped up Intro to Off-Grid Communications Saturday, and what a great class. A lot of great comments, and every time I do that class, I always hear either something similar to, man, I would have been here for hours trying to figure out how to do this stuff, which just points out the need for training and why you would go to an instructor-led course so you can get the hands-on training, but you also get basically like all the pro tips right up front. There's no free lunches in life, guys. You got to pay for someone's time. They've devoted weeks, if not hours and months, sometimes years, on developing a curriculum that actually supports learning how to use skills and equipment, such as Intro to Off-Grid Communication. So you're paying for somebody's time and the pro tips you get to basically get you ahead of the curve much sooner, so you can focus on other areas of your training and your skill building journey. So anyway, we've got another one coming up here November 8th. Again, you get the radio. It's a free radio. It's programmed with all the repeaters in Southern California, namely San Diego County here for us, and you get a LilyGo Meshtastic node if you sign up for the optional radio. So yeah, you get all the equipment you need, and through the class you get the skills and learn how to use them so you can be a community asset, not a liability. So come check it out November 8th at Cargo in El Cajon. I love talking about training, and I am super excited for what's coming up this November. I don't know. Okay, so first of all, this is not a local class, so I'll put that out there right now. It's not a local class, but it is a class I'm extremely interested in taking. Brave Lizards and Frontline Preparedness are putting on a rescue. What is it called? It's a rescue and hostage adventure. It's not even a class, it's called an adventure. So you put adventure in the title, you got me hooked. And that's what I'm doing. I'm driving up there to Utah this November. I believe it's 14 through 16, so get there Friday through Sunday. You get to learn how to do patrolling techniques, reconnaissance procedures. Some of the things they're talking about are op boards. So I'm interested to see that side of training. And I can't turn stuff like that down. So anyway, I'm driving up there. If you guys are interested, check it out. I think you can find out more on Tactical Bell or Frontline Preparedness, their Instagram channels. Go there, check them out, and if you want to join me, we can carpool together. I got room for 3. All right, diving into our local topics this afternoon. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the San Diego County Board of Supervisors Chairman Tara Lawson-Raymer was given a press conference and highlighting the changes that are coming from the SNAP program this week. So I don't know if you guys are following this, but there's big changes coming to the SNAP program, which is, of course, the like food stamp assistance programs and those things. They're expanding their program to have more folks verify the 20-hour minimum work requirement. So the County Board of Supervisors Chair Lawson-Raymer was highlighting the impacts to veterans, homeless, elderly adults, former foster teens, and those types of demographics. Critics are saying that it will impact by creating a run on the food banks. While opponents say that changes and reforms like these are needed in the community to disincentivize dependency or long-term dependency on government programs. So you're seeing that play out right here in the county. So for those that say there's no federal impacts, we'll see here coming up soon enough. I think these changes take effect in February. Hardest hit are going to be our poor communities or blighted communities, where a lot of those programs tend to sustain a lot of families. So we'll see. we'll see how that plays out. All right, moving right along. WTF San Diego put this out this week, and I find it kind of interesting because you're seeing sort of how downtown is devolving. We talk about the parking and the high crime that's going up there, but now we're starting to see organized pickpocketing rings. And this was interesting because they're highlighting some of the tactics that are being used, highlighting that it's organized. So they're pairing up or going out in groups of three, and they're using basically distractions, things that you could probably hear more about like in Europe. So when you go to Europe, you'll get like a country brief if you're going, and they'll talk about some of the pickpocketing rings that exist there and some of the tactics that are employed. Anyway, all that to say is we're seeing that now here in San Diego County, namely the gas lamp. Groups of three are reported to have been seen putting towels over their arms to cover the act. So yeah, just things to be mindful of when you're visiting downtown. If you're going to be paying for parking during a Padres game, you could find yourself coming home without your wallet or your keys or whatever. So, keep your stuff close, dress accordingly, keep things and valuables, not necessarily in your purse, maybe leave those at home. But yeah, we're here, guys. It's 2025 and San Diego has a pickpocketing problem. So, anyway, moving into our tech section. The University College of London has basically created or published a breakthrough in aerial adaptive manufacturing. So drones could basically start building homes. That's what we're saying here. In this case, they're using adaptive aerial manufacturing, otherwise, flying robots that can build structures on site. As of 2025, they're running real-world trials at the campus's drone hub to test the tech outside the lab. But basically, they've shown that three methods would be primarily focused on placing discrete units like bricks, other methods like tinsel or cable-based structures could be built, continuous extrusion layers. I don't know, it's very interesting. Much like when 3D printing became a normal thing, I think we're going to see that same process with aerial adaptive manufacturing, otherwise drones in the air building houses. Would you guys live in a drone-built house? I don't know. Seems kind of neat. I might. If I could afford it, who knows? I live in San Diego, so not much money I'll go anywhere else. Moving right along. I don't know, this one was a pretty cool one I saw this week. I saw this video clip, what we're calling Quad-Dawgs. So it looks like this apartment complex has employed Quad-Dawgs to patrol the property. And I find it kind of interesting because it just highlights the automation and robotics that are finding their way into normal everyday jobs. So before he used to have a security guard, he'd set up in a shack every hour, on the hour, or something like that. They'd go do a stroll and do a property patrol. In this case, they're probably doing it now with the Boston Dynamics Quad-Dawg, and that seems kind of cool. I mean, we're so used to seeing these things with guns or payloads strapped to them. It's nice to just see when it's able to help a person find the building they're looking for. So anyway, all that to say is this is what happens when you introduce automation and AI technology. You're seeing normal jobs performed by human beings getting replaced by, in this case, the Quad-Dawg. Hoo-yah, Quad-Dawg. They're taking our jobs! Alright, pushing right along. We're moving right into our international section. I know, it's very crazy out there globally. But in this case, we saw this here in New York with the UN General Assembly meeting that took place this week. But U.S. Secret Service just dismantled a huge network of SIM card telecommunications devices. Basically, they said they found what could have been 300 co-located SIM servers and about 100,000 SIM cards, all within a 35-mile span in the area, in the New York tri-state area. And what's interesting is they're showing the capability to jam the entire network, or maybe what I was thinking with this was corralling or influencing cellular behavior traffic for cellular networks. So, for instance, your phone is at a busy area, it could go to this particular cell tower, but if there's a number of other cell phones in the area, it would be much more difficult because the frequencies are all fighting for the same tower. So jamming, basically, getting network jamming. Or you could be getting what's led to a false tower, which is what we call stingray systems that are out there now. So you might have heard about this since 2020, maybe 2016 with the introduction of the Ferguson and the BLM riots. You started to see more and more law enforcement technology pop up such as stingrays. Stingrays is a system that basically tricks your phone into connecting to a false tower so they can monitor the traffic and pinpoint particular MIMSI numbers, anything to your phone. And basically, that's how they could track your movement, track your calls, and it's being diverted to a stingray system. And that's where in the class actually we cover stingray, but also there's ways to find out indications and warning of stingrays being employed in the area, namely with ray hunters. You can go to GitHub and program your Orbic, or Verizon Wi-Fi stick, and you can basically find out if there's a ray hunter in the area. But all that to say is, I think what we're seeing here with these large-scale employments of cell networks is perhaps maybe funneling folks into a stingray-like device so they could monitor traffic. That's why when I saw the amount of the phones being employed or used, the first things that came to my mind was, okay, we're saturating the network, and for what purpose? And those things kind of went through my mind. It could be to curtail cellular network behavior or users to a false tower, or it could be just used to jam the network and cause disruption to, in this case, the U.S. Secret Service's protective operations. So anyway, I find that stuff interesting because you're seeing how these things are evolving with technology, and our everyday behavior is impacted by some of this stuff. Continuing with our national news, Antifa designated as a domestic terrorist organization. I find these things interesting because it's sort of laying the table or framework, if you will, for everything that could be considered violent, aggressive activity to curtail or be considered violent actions against the government. So let me just read you the definition here. So Antifa designated as a domestic terrorist organization. Section 1 designated Antifa as a militarist anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. It basically gives the FBI a little bit more teeth with the executive order. You guys remember a couple years ago during the Biden administration, we had FBI agents showing up to school board meetings, and they were tracing or tracking, extremist activity at school board meetings. So here we are again on similar kind of thing. Although whatever you feel about Antifa is besides the point. But when the federal government comes in and defines group activity, I tend to pay more attention to that, because maybe an administration that's in favor of your ideas now could instantly be changed to an organization that opposes your values. Let's just take, for instance, okay, Gavin Newsom wins the presidency. All of a sudden we're looking at patriot fronts, or whatever we call them, or even just people that go out to train and kit with the plate carrier on there. Those are extremist militants now. And because they wore a red hat to a political rally, we're going to go ahead and classify those as domestic terrorists now. So you see the tit for tat here. I'm not saying that Antifa doesn't warrant a designation or anything. I'm just saying to be mindful of these designations that have the weight of the federal government. In this case, we're talking about the FBI. So we increase budgets for policing. We give law enforcement the teeth to go out and enforce and build cases on people that are financing groups. It's a matter of time when that can all be turned on, a less violent or a less extreme version of anti-government activity, whatever that could mean in the future. So I don't know. I think you guys are kind of picking up what I'm putting down, but things to be mindful of as we move through the 21st century here in the United States. All right, and wrapping things up here, we're going to go to the international arena. I don't know if you guys saw this one here this week, but Ukrainian forces reportedly employed balloons during a large-scale drone strike on Russia, marking the first reported mass use of such devices in the war. According to the media outlet RBC, on September 23rd, Russian military sources reportedly stated that the overnight attack on Moscow was characterized by a significant number of balloons. Analysts suggested the balloons could have been used as decoys to exhaust Russian air defense systems to increase the effectiveness of the strike drones. And I think that's pretty accurate. I think what we're seeing here, for those that are following the international arena and the arms buildup that's currently ongoing, you're seeing a lot of high volume, low cost, munition style weapon systems being developed to saturate and attrite missile defense systems that arguably come from Cold War era concepts and doctrine. The United States still remains the largest exporter of munitions and high technology. When it comes to that, we're talking like $100,000 for a specialized warhead, or $300,000 for a specialized warhead. In some cases, $1 million for an air-to-air missile. So saturating air defenses in this case, we're really trying to attrite an industry, and that's the name of the game that I'm seeing unfold between nation states. Is we're seeing ways to attrite large-scale defense systems or large-scale national defense weapons employed in a way that becomes more costly by just using very low cost, very efficient means of saturation. In this case, the Ukrainians showing balloons could quite possibly be an effective tactic to employ drone strikes. So all that to say is just, be mindful of that as we're moving towards the future of warfare in this 5th gen world, that it's not necessarily who has the most advanced weaponry, but who can employ the advanced weaponry for the longest. And in many cases, if you're destroying it with $1,000 drone, or excuse me, when you're destroying a $100,000 air defense system with a $1,000 drone, you see where concerns are being driven with respect to this high volume, low cost technology, namely with automated unmanned systems. And so that's just something to be mindful of. And I thought this tactic or this method of employment was quite unique and interesting. I'm just going to keep that out there, put that in your remember for later file. Interesting nonetheless. And then wrapping things up here, I thought this was kind of creepy. The British intelligence agency, the MI6 European spy service, they are advertising or promoting what's called their silent courier, which is a dark web portal. So if anybody has information leading to the arrest of individuals that could impact global stability, they're being asked to report in the silent courier system, which is this dark web portal as mentioned. As we see intelligence agencies become more and more ingrained in a national posture, we're soliciting information from everyday citizens, and it just goes to show how deep the surveillance state grows. I think Europe is the model. The United States tends to adapt or follow in ways. So as you see here, the advent of flock cameras and automatic license plate readers, those systems are heavily used in Europe and first seen in Europe, and now we're seeing them spark up all across the United States. And in this case, I do feel it's just another block on the house of surveillance that we're finding ourselves living in more and more. So anyway, don't want to be doom and gloom this week, but be mindful of that stuff. And you get opportunities to speak at city council as I do. Things like this are finding their way here at home. It's a good opportunity to get out there and express your concerns, the Fourth Amendment and everything like that. No matter the efficiency it gives state actors like the police, you still have rights as a citizen. There's still civil rights in this country, and just because a new technology comes around doesn't nullify your civil rights. So, alright guys, that's going to do it here. I know, another short one, but I enjoy talking about this stuff. I hope you enjoy hearing about it. That's going to do it for me. Like I said, stay up to date with us. We got things coming up here this fall, giveaways that will blow your mind, but also we got Intro to Off-Grid Communications coming up November 8th at Cargo in El Cajon. Come check it out. It's easy to sign up. You not only walk in with the curiosity that brought you to the table, but you leave with the equipment and the skills and the competency to use them and be an asset to your community. Not only that, you get an encrypted mesh network that's going on right now. Go ahead and check it out. RoosterNet is up. We're giving away offers in there right now. Check it out right now. You get $50 off the emergency preparedness course coming up this Saturday at El Cajon at Cargo. And you get $50 off by using the promo code that's put up in the RoosterNet right now. So if you can get there, if you can see it, use that promo code, get $50 off. And send us a hello. Drop us a comment in there. Let us know how we're doing in the mesh, and let's grow this community together. Alright guys, that's really it for me. Again, I love you all. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hug your kids. Tell your mom you love her. That's it.